It is the Welcome to Cooperville podcast. It is episode number 69. Go figure. Not sure if that was planned or if that's just how this all worked out. Tommy Shaw going to join me in just a bit, but first things first, of course, special thanks out to Midwest Meals and MidwestMeals.com. 13 rotating meals, all done for you. The work is taken out. The effort is taken out. All you have to do is know how to operate a microwave. And if you don't know how to do that, well, there's instructions, I think, on the back of the microwave. Turn it around and look underneath it. It's written right on there. So you pop them in, and of course, you got all your macros on there. You know your calorie counts, you know your protein count, your fats, your carbs, everything you need to know. And the deliciousness on top of it is an added bonus. So you can actually know what you're putting in your body. Therefore, you know what you can get out of your body. And you get 10% off with promo code Cooper at checkout at MidwestMeals.com. By the way, no matter where you are watching and or listening to this, they ship nationwide every Monday. So if you go and peruse the website and you pick out your meals for the week, they will ship to your house, to your front door, ice packed, all the good stuff. And boom, your meals for the week taken care of. And also less dishes, that's huge for me. Like the dishwasher, not a fan. MidwestMeals.com. Again, that promo code is Cooper at checkout. Violent Gentlemen Hockey Club, the code is Cooperville15 for 15% off your order. They have some fantastic hoodies. They just released a new line of hoodies that if you're from the Midwest or anywhere where it gets a little bit nipply this time of year, the Violent Gentlemen hoodies are a new line, just came out. So use that promo code, get 15% off, Cooperville15 at violentgentleman.com. And of course, Monster Energy, keeping it all real, keeping me motivated and keeping me awake, probably for much later than I need to be and getting me up much earlier than I need to be. But I have a 10-year-old, and I think that probably says enough right there. Hashtag Monster Podcast, Monster Energy, proud sponsors of the Welcome to Cooperville podcast. We tried to do this, Tommy Shaw. We made an attempt.
We did.
If you go back, actually, I think the post is still up. If you scroll back far enough on my the Welcome to Cooperville Instagram page, episode 25 still exists in picture only. We sat down and we had it's like hour, 2 hours. I don't know. We talked about everything from.
We were rambling on for a good couple hours, I think.
It was. I mean, it was the Inagata de Vita of podcasts. I mean, it kept going, and there was bathroom breaks. I mean, it was fantastic. And Tommy leaves, and I sent him a text. I'm like, hey, thanks again. It was great. And I come down, and again, I'd done 24 of them and have been around recording equipment for the better portion of my life. And our audio was so faint. I don't know, but we kind of said that's odd because the conversation took a paranormal turn about halfway through.
It did.
The fact that none of it recorded, none of it was worth publishing. So we decided, and that was last year sometime. So it's taken us a bit to get back to it, but Halloween time seems like a good time to bring back the paranormal conversation that we once had.
Yeah, I want to get down to the nitty gritty. I mean, we were on a really good conversation before it all went south, and of course I talked to you quite some time ago about hey, next time you get Chad Lewis, give me a call. I'd really like to sit in and be on that conversation, and so finally I reached out to you and I said, look, it's Halloween, it's my favorite damn holiday. Pretty please, can I get some airtime?
Want to talk about ghosts and shit? Let me put me on the thing. And you're live now. We can do it live. Yeah, I'm in. So, by the way, if anybody is watching us, we're on Facebook, the Cooperville Facebook page, also on the YouTube channel and on Twitch. So, if anybody is friends with Chad Lewis, I know I am. Maybe I'll try to jump on my Facebook. I'll tag him and see if we can get him to join in the conversation.
That'd be awesome. I'd love to meet that guy.
We have the capabilities of doing that. Yeah, my podcast with him was fantastic. The guy's he's done so many things in that world, which I know you like. That'd be like your, if that would pay you enough money to fill your glass with vodka.
Yes.
You'd totally be a paranormal investigator.
I would drop everything if I can get a paycheck for doing that. I'll do that in a heartbeat. I find it thrilling. It's an adrenaline rush for me. I do get some looks. We were teasing this earlier today at my office. Shameless plug. But I had some people stop me in the hallway and say, "So, what are you guys going to be talking about tonight?" I said, Halloween stuff, paranormal. And I thought they were going to make fun of me, because like most people do.
Well,
Sometimes they make fun of me just when I walk down the street. But no, and then I had a group of people that came in and we were all talking about our experiences that we had when we were younger and what did you see? And, well, I believe in aliens. And I'm like, yeah, that's where you lose me. But I don't know. I'm not a big UFO guy. I'm a kind of see is believing.
They're not going to give you a choice. I'm just saying. They're not gonna be like, oh, he doesn't believe. Like, okay, we'll leave him alone. Like,
yeah, that's right. Cool. Well, we can't anal probe him. Okay, fine.
Non-believers.
We'll move on.
Oh, we already got a comment. Heather, she wants Chad Lewis to come out to the house. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I thought she wanted me to come to her house. I read that wrong.
Tommy wants to be paid to investigate paranormal. I know the Norvalds, they have some spiritual stuff going on at their place. So there's
really. So yeah, I'd love to do that. I mean, I dabbled in it by myself a long time ago. I'm a couple years away from being 50. I'm guessing it was probably when I was in my mid 20s, late 20s that I would go out with a little tiny digital camera and somebody would say, well, yeah, I think we got something cooking over here. See if we can't find something on camera or whatever. And, I had no clue what I'm doing. No idea. But I do have stories that are legit, and that's what we were talking about earlier at the office today. And people are like, no shit. I'm like, yeah, it really happened. And it's to this day, I can't believe it did. I can't believe it happened. But, I know what I heard. I know what I saw. And sometimes when you talk to people about your experiences, that you get the eye rolls and they're like,
what was he dabbling in his 20s?
That's right. That's right.
Was that a street name? Taking some paranormal pills back here.
Yeah, but until you actually see stuff for yourself and experience something for yourself, and that's really the only way that you're going to go have that aha moment and go, there's something else out here. Like my wife thinks I'm crazy. I mean, talk about eye rolls anytime I talk about this stuff.
Do you have to have the secret conversation by yourself in the corner? Like, I know what
she's like, for the love of God, Tommy, stop drinking. I'm serious.
Now, I know we talked about this on the Lost episode, which will never be found. I actually think I still have the audio, but it literally, I mean, if you've ever seen what a recording looks like Tommy has,
it's cursed.
You have to amplify it so much you can't make out what it says. But I know you talked about it on the first episode. But when you go back to your first experience, the first time that you were kind of triggered by something in the paranormal. How you were young though, weren't you? Were you knee high to a grasshopper when you're with your first kind of like eye opening, like maybe there's something,
kind of. I mean, I think it all stemmed from. I mean, I love the adrenaline rush you get when you watch horror movies, scary movies, and I think I was about 11 or 12 when I first saw The Exorcist. On much to my mother's chagrin, but
was she aware?
My mom and I kind of fell from the same tree, so it's like she knew. And I'm gonna get to the part of my mother here in a little while, and you're gonna be pleasantly surprised. But that movie scared the shit out of me back then. As a matter of fact, I've watched it's just like Star Wars. I watched it 167 times, and it still is freaky. When you got the lights down and you got it's on Dish Network or whatever, and even the edited, TV version is like, oh, this part's going to get me. And then I think that's when I got the bug. I think that's when I got the bug where I'm like, there's got to be something to this. And later in life, I did research on the stories behind the movies, instead of just taking the movie version. Like The Exorcist, it was about a 14-year-old boy in St. Louis compared to a 12-year-old girl in Georgetown, and same thing with the Amityville Horror, the Lutz family compared to the DeFeo family. What happened there? Was it a hoax? Was it something that they did for money? It was just fascinating. It's just fascinating to find out the backstories of these movies and stuff. And it wasn't until I was rewind. I was probably 17 when I had my first legitimate scare. Legitimate. This is where my mother comes in.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, insert eerie music here.
I was going to say that before you get to your story. When you talked about The Exorcist, you know that a movie has this gravitational pull of its own.
Yeah.
When even the music, and I remember I was working with you doing afternoons on Wax back in the day, and you had that bed on a loop.
Yeah.
And even when you hear it, they use it for either TV commercials or a promo. When you hear that iconic Exorcist,
it triggers you.
You have the feels. Like you're like, oh shit. Like even if it's in the middle of the day, you're like,
something's coming.
Your mother's in here with us. No, it's like it gets weird.
Seriously. Would you like to say hello?
No, you mentioned that movie, and I was like, even saying the title of the movie, that you start to hear the and it starts to play.
Yeah. I not to tangent too much, but I actually had an opportunity to interview Linda Blair before I departed Wax 104, and that was we didn't talk much about The Exorcist. She doesn't like talking about The Exorcist. I can see why, right. But I got her to talk a little bit about it, and it was just exhilarating to just talk to her about her book, about her life, about her passions. Obviously she's a real person. And when I did dig a little bit deeper, I was told not to talk about The Exorcist, but I was rolling tape and I was talking about her publicist, and the publicist, his name is Sonny, and he said, please don't talk about The Exorcist.
Talk to Linda Blair, but don't talk about it.
Yeah, in my mind, I'm like, then what the hell's the point?
Does she have a rock album dropping?
It's like truth. And I'm all for. She wrote a book called Going Vegan, and this is a long time ago, before the vegan craze really truly hit. Yeah. And I knew nothing about being a vegan. I didn't know what these people were. For a minute there, I thought, is this anything in relation to like Wiccan?
Some sort of cult?
I was, and to be completely transparent, I was a horrible interviewer because I didn't do my research, so I kind of fuddled along, and because I want to get to the good stuff. Give me the, what about The Exorcist type of thing. Well, she didn't know this because we weren't live. We pre-recorded this. And so I got her to talk about bits and pieces.
So whose internet connection is it? See, this is where the ghosts come in. Tommy's internet connection goes down in the middle of a podcast. I don't know. Strange. We'll get to some of your comments until he comes back and live. Yes, Nina Deadfowl's at Ghost Adventures Wisconsin. Absolutely, couldn't agree more. I think it'd be cool to have Zach Baggins hanging out in the Sheely house or something. I think that'd be cool. And there's a bunch of other places. All Chad Lewis's books have a bunch of great stuff on there. That's a good one. Tommy likes the anal probe. See, we can say this about him because currently he is his internet is frozen, so we can talk about his probe. He jumped off, so we'll keep on chatting until he gets back in. Chad Lewis did the Green Eyes Bridge, which is the bridge next to your family cabin. Very cool. Yeah, Chad's done such a bunch of cool stuff. Yeah, maybe I'll tag him on Facebook and see if he wants to jump on. He's a busy guy, especially this time of year. He's out doing a whole bunch of stuff. I know, right? Like how weird is it, the fact that we actually had our first podcast that we did, episode 25, the audio cuts out and we don't have any audio. So the podcast basically doesn't exist. It's the lost episode of me and Tommy. And then of course we're doing a live stream here and his feed cuts out. I'm not saying, but doesn't it make a lot of sense? Audio, the first episode, we talk about the paranormal, and the next episode he jumps on and we're doing it live and his video feed cuts out. I don't know. I think it's kind of strange. But no, get back up to you, Heather. The old Hoff murders. Yeah. I will, Heather, someday I will, because there's a connection to the Hoff murders, and and myself. So I'll get back to that at some point. We'll get together and I'll make you and I and Phil will get together and chat about that. Hey, look. Okay, so
I was in the middle of texting you, like, is this happening again?
I was just talking about that. I said, is it not completely strange that our first episode audio gets cut out? We were just doing audio at that point, and then the next episode we start talking about the paranormal and stuff, and the video feed cuts out.
I'm just going to tell you right now, ladies and gentlemen, this is not a hoax. We're not. This is production. This is seriously. I was in the middle of messaging you saying, "Are you kidding me?" All right. Well, I'm going to try to finish this.
I don't know, man. I'm saying I've done a bunch of these, and that's never happened. I don't know.
Seriously. I mean, honest, this is not a game. We're not doing this for EVP machine. Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Dude, EVP, we'll get the SB7 Spirit Box, and we'll have a go of it. And you know what's going to happen. And you know what's going to happen. I mean, the equipment's going to fail. The battery's going to die. I mean,
absolutely.
You know, this is
I'm in shock. I really am. I can't believe that. But anyway, now that story is still fresh in my mind, through the magic radio and editing, we were able to. I was able to piece it together. And
this is live, man. This just happened.
Yeah,
magic.
But with Linda Blair, it was a fascinating interview, and I got her to talk a little bit about it. And she was so sweet. She was awesome. She knew exactly what I was going for. She gave me a little taste. She didn't give me the entire burger. She gave me a sliver, but I took it, and it was just a lot of fun to do that. But yeah, I mean, I've got a Ouija board story that my mother started when I was like 17.
Yeah, I was talking about that.
Yeah, this was my. We were just having fun. We're kids, you know, and I took it to the graveyard, and you know, thing was going crazy, whatnot. And later, I was working for KDWB. Fast forward a couple years, working for KDWB, and I came home late at night, and my mother and my sister were playing the Ouija board. I wasn't playing it. And I walked in. Hey, what are you doing? Oh, yeah, we're talking to, you know, so-and-so, whatever. I was, oh, okay, fine. And the planchette started spelling out, "Beware, I'm watching you." And my mom said, "Well, are you watching me?" No. Okay. And my sister Laura was there and said, "Are you watching Laura?" No. Both of them turned and look at me, and they're like, "You watching Tom?" Yes. And I'm like, time out. I'm not even playing this game. And so it kept doing that figure 8 thing. And a couple, 30 seconds later, the phone rang. And I took it in the kitchen, answered it, and there was this weird, it's hard to explain. There was this weird, almost a vibrating humming sound coming from the phone. Now, back in the day, there wasn't cell phones. It was a landline phone, and they're notorious for having issues. And there was nobody there. So I hung up, didn't think anything of it. And a couple seconds later, it rang again. This time I took it into my bedroom in case the kitchen phone was all jacked up. And same thing, the weird humming, vibrating noise. But this time this had a voice, and it said, "Beware, I'm watching you." And yeah, and you could I'm out. I went back into the living room. I said, "You guys, you're done. Put it away. We're done." And I haven't touched it. I haven't touched it since. And that was how many years ago? I was 19 at the time.
A couple years back.
Couple years back.
Couple handful. Yeah.
So it was needless to say, it woke me up. I was freaking out.
That Ouija board stuff, man. I don't, that's, there's
yeah.
You shouldn't be. There's things you can witness stuff, and you can feel presences, and you can have experiences, and I've had mine. My family has had theirs, but like the invitation, like, yeah, hey, yeah, you entity, I have no idea what your intent is. Yeah, come on over.
Come on over.
like,
have a seat.
It's like live in a crack neighborhood and then just leave the door open. You're like, whatever. Come on, like, come on. It's cool. Like it's a free for all here.
I tell you, if you ever want to get rid of them, though, tell them it's a cash bar.
Sorry, man. We out. We out of here. No freebies. Oh man,
yeah. So I mean, that was again, that was my first experience. I mean, a real experience that to this day, I tell the story and people, nah, that's bullshit. You don't get it, and yeah, just I guess if you want to figure out what it's like, grab a Ouija board. Ours was from Milton Bradley. I think we got it from a toy store. It worked just fine.
Yeah, this is for play only. Yeah, no, it's not. Yeah, those big no. See,
Heather, I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree.
Say no, man. Just no.
Yeah. See, she gets it.
You had to learn the lesson the hard way, apparently.
That's right. What does your mom say when you're little? Don't put your hand on a hot plate. I did it several times.
This is hot. You move your hand. This is hot.
Yeah.
But there's.
And it's like I said, like we were talking about before. I mean, if I could do this for a living, I would in a heartbeat. I don't get as nervous or as jumpy as I used to when I was, back in my teens or my 20s. But it's just like I said, it's and I'm sure Chad Lewis would say the same thing. It's like an addiction. It's like there's the adrenaline rush. There's the 9 times out of 10, if you research a house and you go in and with all your equipment, you're probably not going to catch anything. But that one time out of 10 that you investigate something and you pick something up, whether it be an EVP or a full body apparition or whatever, and that's your money shot. I mean, that's the moment where you say, okay, there's some validity to this, and it'd be a riot, to do that. I'm still waiting for the phone to ring from Ghost Hunters or even that Jack Bacon character in it.
Okay, I'll be the guy. I'll be like the bloody goat you put into the just like cut yourself a little bit and then go in. And we'll be out here.
Yeah, we'll be safe in the control room. You're just,
fine. No, I think that's where you get, when you get a lot of skepticism is because you do have the rare occasions that something is captured. There's 100 that it's not, and when people see that, or it's in some shows. I think some TV shows they can maybe over push some things that you're like, oh, I don't really know. But there's plenty of documented evidence out there, and plenty of true to life stories of people that have nothing to gain by like nobody's paying you to tell me this story.
Right.
If they are, I want 20%. But there's still like it's like aliens. I know you're not an alien guy, but in the midst of COVID, the Pentagon releases like we have discovered and seen spacecraft that are not of this planet. The Pentagon, they like release this like. All the COVID's going on. Everybody's like losing their shit and buying toilet paper and can't find Clorox wipe. Wearing masks. It's weird. But during the midst of all the chaos, the Pentagon's like, let's just slide this information out there like nobody's going to know. And people are like, oh, like, okay, like it's 2020.
Yeah.
So, but the skepticism is still there, even though you have, some, high-ranking officials and some confirmation, and maybe there's some stuff out there. People will always lean towards the side of skepticism unless they have an experience themselves.
Right.
Or somebody who's like super like close to them, trustworthy. Like this person has no reason to lie to me about this, and they're like, dude, I've like heard and seen stuff, and then maybe they start to change their ways a little bit, but.
Yeah, because for me, I don't talk about this every day. I don't discuss at parties or it's not dinner table topics, and but when like situations like this arise, or if somebody else brings up the paranormal, I may slide the story in, and I don't have a booklet of 1,700 stories that I made up and to say, well, hey, also on this date I did this, and on this date I saw this, and this thing came at me like this, and I have like 2 stories, but that's all you need. That's all you need. You need one story, That's really all you need for to impact your life. And my story was definitely real. My two stories are definitely real. And the alien thing, I'm a never say never kind of guy.
Right.
And so obviously in today's world, anything that comes out of Washington, from my personal belief, is like,
Murder hornets. Murder hornets are going to get caught.
I was disappointed with the murder hornets. I really wanted to see one up close, but anyway, I digress. But today somebody told me a story of their UFO experience, and okay, it happened to them. They believe it. To them, it happened. Oh, okay. Right. I'm not going to argue with you and say, oh no, that didn't happen. It happened to you, and what an experience. I haven't seen it, and so if my two stories would have never happened, I would probably be more of a naysayer on the ghost end than I am today. It's human nature. Seeing is believing. So to each its own. Again, we're, like you said, we're in 2020. Somebody comes in and has a picture of a dead alien, spread eagle on a table in Area 51. Okay, maybe that's Hollywood. We don't know.
CGI.
But it's 2020, so it's like, what? Asteroids, murder hornets, COVID-19. What else are you going to add to the list?
That's the thing. I don't want to say the scariest thing about it, but how desensitized we are to like really bad things now. We're like, murder hornets, aliens, giant asteroid going to destroy Earth, like we're all par for the course right now. Like, fine,
And my personal horror story is if my favorite retailer is out of vodka, then I'm just end it right now. End it. That's it.
Dude, and as a distributor, you will know this, and other friends I have that are do have the same career. They're like, didn't affect us. Nope, motherfuckers drinking crazy now. They're drinking at home. It's just different.
And we're talking about this, and we as I'm with Bill's Distributing out of Menominee, and I've talked to some other people too at Park Ridge in Eau Claire, and they're the same thing. I mean, we're seeing record-breaking sales in the midst of a pandemic. It's bad. But a lot of people they don't want to go out to retailers anymore for fear of getting COVID, which is understandable. My heart goes out to all the retailers and bar owners and restaurants that can't get the customers anymore. So my wife and I, for example, we go to every mom and pop shop we can and do takeout and buy things we normally wouldn't buy, and that's what you got to do. And yeah, we're seeing pretty damn good sales off this pandemic. Of course, it's, I guess I'd trade it if I could, for the health, wellness of everybody. We would love to see people out back in retail and doing the things that they like to do. But it is what it is. It's 2020, man. It's here.
Yeah. I have a cousin who lives out in Denver and works for a major wine distributor in the country. And it's part of like the airline hotel section of the wine industry. And so she hasn't had a lot of work because obviously wasn't a lot of airline flights. Hotel stays obviously significantly down with less travel.
Yeah.
And her and I were on a Zoom call one day, and she's like, "Yeah, we've made our budget, like not from airline, but like as overall as a company, like we made our budget already because everybody is going and just, well, what's better than one bottle?
Two. We'll take a case.
All of the wine.
Nothing wrong with that.
I don't want to have to come back to the store because I end up buying shit like food, and let's just cut out the middleman here. But no, it's people have made have found ways to get through all this, and but I think to get back to what we were talking about is the lack of shock, if anything. That's why I think if it was like, now would be the time for like a very crystal clear paranormal capture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because you're like, and all the non-believers would be like, "No, yeah, I guess I see them. Yeah. Like, I'm on board now. The other dimension that's there. I'm watching it. It's happening around me. Fine." snow Ouija boards, and we'll be good. I'm gonna go back to drinking my wine or my vodka or my latte and like let the world go around us.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you.
So I have an interesting news story to add to our repertoire of paranormal stuff. So I moved earlier this summer, moved from our house in Altoona and moved, my son and I moved here to Chippewa Falls, and love it. Love the city, love the community. It's a beautiful, beautiful place to live. And, never, and not that I'm like hypersensitive to entities or energies, things like that. But if it's strong enough, I'm like, that's odd. When I first came, and looked at the place, I was like, sometimes when like people are still living there, you can kind of feel what they're feeling. And, the guy that I moved in after him, he was going through a divorce too. So it was like, okay, like we're just all on the same wavelength. Like I get it. Like it's cool.
Sure, yeah.
And so we end up moving in here, and my son is out in the backyard playing, a nice little backyard. And there's like a hill that goes down, real private, but kind of a woodsy area. And he came back in the house one day and he was like, there's a shiny black piece of glass out in the backyard. And I was like, well, don't touch it. Just don't, the glass breaking bad.
I don't want to end up taking it for a tetanus shot later.
No, like we got stuff to do. Like we can't be dealing with hand stitches at this point. It's like, and then that was kind of it. I was like, well, somebody threw some junk in the forest back there. Happens. And so I do stupid things in the morning, like flip tires and run. And so one morning when it used to be light out in the morning, which is great, I was out back and I was flipping my tire and I put it back up against a tree where I normally have it. And there was kind of some ground, like some leaves and some branches and stuff. And I kind of saw the corner of what looked like a black piece of glass. I'm like, oh, this must be what he saw. I'll just move it because he'll find it again and forget what I told him because he's a child. And, and I'll just, I'll move it. It is not, in fact, a piece of glass. It's a grave marker.
Oh, game changer. Game changer.
And so I have a friend over and she's like, there's a gravestone in the backyard. Like, I kind of saw it, but I didn't want to like acknowledge like fully.
Right.
Like, no, it's like, I'm like, I didn't like read it. I know it said like Joe, but I didn't like, I'm like, maybe it's the dog. Like maybe like these people really love their dog and they got a gravestone created for the dog. Like super cool. Like
please have it say in
love dog
Snuggles.
Dogs are the best. Joe, what a great name for a dog. Come here, Joe. Come here, buddy. Good boy, Joe. And she's like, no, it's like 1920 something till 1970. So I'm like, that's not a dog. Although, I mean, if it is, wow, but it's not. So
you got something living with you.
Maybe it's just, a memorial. There's not actually a body in the backyard.
Yeah.
Maybe, hopefully, probably is. So anyway, so like I kind of get over that. And so I'm in bed one night and turned the TV off. I started reading a book a little bit, put the book down, shut the light off, covers up. And I'm just kind of laying there doing and starting to nod off. And I swear on whatever it is that I believe in, the sheets around where my feet were tightened. Like it felt like somebody was not like, you feel when somebody sits in the bed, people, a lot of, I've seen paranormal researchers talk about that. Like you can feel somebody's presence sit on the bed and it kind of dips.
Right.
This was like legit, like felt the bottom sheet, like tighten, like pull down and put legit pressure on my feet. And I'm not sure if it was paralysis, like temporary paralysis, but I was the most awake, and I drink a lot of Monster. It was the most awake and not moving I had ever been in my life. I just like lay there, eyes, I like a little bit of the shakes, and I'm like, it's probably just the like trying to rationalize. Like it's really, I'm sure that there's like maybe my kid is in the room. No,
He's
when he enters the room, he's in the room.
He makes his presence known.
The door flies open. There's probably some popcorn shit flying all over the place. Like, he's there. Like, oh, hi, Greg. Good to see you, buddy. How you doing? What can I get for you? I'm hungry.
Make me a Pop-Tart.
Exactly. It's 11:30. No, fine. I'll have one. But there was it was completely silent in the room, and I'm like, okay, this is gonna be fine. Everything's gonna be fine.
That freaked me
out. Legit. So now I've untucked the sheet from the bottom of the bed, so it is like it's freely open. I'm like,
and
now it's like 40 degrees out. It's gonna be like 28 at night. I'm like, I don't give a shit. I don't care.
I'll freeze. I'll light some candles.
Like, oh, your feet are. Maybe there's when there's a presence around, it can get cold temperatures. Like, no, it's just really cold in the house.
Right.
There's nothing down there.
My heat was turned off.
Joe with the foot fetish who's buried in my backyard. No mas.
It's a shame his name is Joe.
No bullshit. Like that's
yeah. I mean, if anyone's watching and has a story, please chime in. I mean, it'd be fun to see other people's stories if you got them.
I think when you probably agree with this too, is like once you have something happen, like you're super sensitive to things like and everything that you hear, anything that you feel, you automatically like, I wonder if that's something that like I heard a giant clang, maybe a plate fell. Well, how did it fall? Did somebody nudge it off? How did the plate get there? Like you start to like psychoanalyze every single like.
Well, it's we were talking earlier about it being 2020, and as a matter of fact, my wife got me a shirt that says "is essential as fuck," and I thought it was funny as hell. And I said, I want that shirt, and but we're in 2020, and the only thing we can think about right now is woke as fuck. Are you woke? Are you alert? Are you aware? Are you are you in the moment? Are you a part of your political party that you want to be part of? Are you part of your campaign that you want to run? When you have something happen to you, you are woke as fuck. You are. You like you were saying, it takes on a whole new dimension to your life, your belief system. But like we were talking about earlier, if it doesn't happen to you, if you've never had those experiences, then you're more apt to say, this guy's full of shit. Okay. I can't argue with you. I get it, because before any of this happened to me, I'm like, maybe it's real. Maybe it's not. I don't know. And then when it happens to you, then you're like, here we go. A new dimension to my life.
Right. Do you watch when you like watch scary stuff? Do you watch it with a different eye now? As I feel like when not necessarily non-believers like watch scary things, like it's more for you get that heart palpitation when something scary happens, but it's not like you're going, oh, like geez, maybe there's like something behind it. Do you watch things differently now since you've had an experience?
I do. I mean, much more so now than when I was in my teens or 20s, because you're a little bit more, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? Drama driven, at those ages. And you're like, oh my God, did you see what happened? I bet you anything that's real. Today, you kind of look at things more with a grain of salt, and it's Hollywood. But what I can tell you is that the only shows that I really like to watch horror-wise are the same ones that I've seen time and time again. Amityville Horror, The Exorcist, The Conjuring. Why? Because they're based off of real experiences. They're based off of true life happenings. Whether Amityville was a hoax or not, it's still intriguing because it's based off of real people. It's based off of real events. And that's what I love about them. Because now in the age of the internet and everything else, you can do a lot of research, whether it be, Wikipedia, or you can go to news archives or whatever, and actually dive deeper into their stories and how the book was made or how the movie was made. Where are the people now, if they still are around? There's something on Shudder right now. I just begged my wife to to subscribe to Shudder because they were talking about the experiences that happen on set of several different movies like The Poltergeist and The Exorcist, although The Poltergeist is a completely fictional story. They claim that things still happened on the set. Well, like with us, we can't seem to do a goddamn podcast without something blowing up. Stuff like that, that happens. And that's what I find intriguing. I still believe it's Hollywood. I still believe that they take a lot of liberties in their storytelling. But if you dive deeper, especially with Amityville and The Conjuring and The Exorcist, there's some things, there wasn't head spinning around and green soup being thrown, but nevertheless, I mean, with The Exorcist, they brought in a Jesuit priest and they did an honest to God exorcism on this 14-year-old boy in St. Louis. And that's what I find just cool. Just cool, so.
Yeah. I mean, I think Hollywood has to they have to make it watchable. I mean, if you're going to have a paranormal experience, chances are it's not going to be a drawn out conversation, or it's going to be brief. It's going to be it's not going to be crystal clear, like looking at your face, and it's going to be like a brief thing that happens. And I think you look at, like, I just got done for the second time watching The Haunting of Hill House.
It's a great show. It's a great show.
Just fantastically done. Yeah. And the Haunting of Bly Manor is the new one, which is like super cool.
We just started watching that as well. Yeah.
All the same actors, but in different roles as a different family. I'm like, that's so Elliot from E.T. I mean, come on. It doesn't get better than that.
My girl crush from Son-in-Law is in that, Carla. I can't pronounce her last name, but she's my Hollywood crush.
Which one was she? I'm trying to think.
She was the mom in Haunting Hill House. Yeah.
Yes. That was Theodora. Whoever played Theodora.
Yeah.
Like, that was fantastic. Very scary stuff. But I think you watch a story like that because of how Hollywood does a great job of writing this, especially now that Netflix has become a thing and you can do it in this this serial kind of way and have episode, but it's major budget. I mean, it's so different than when we were watching. When you watch TV as a kid, it was like, oh well, this person will never be in a movie because this is TV and it's movie. Now all of a sudden you see that it's kind of reversal where TV has become so blockbuster-esque. But like The Haunting of Hill House was so well scripted. It's so well done. It gets you at the right time. Yeah. But when you watch go ahead.
It's compelling. It's absolutely compelling. I mean, it like the writing is incredible to be able to get your viewers engaged. And I'm not a. And my wife complains all the time because I'm not a series or a binge watch kind of guy. I like to watch a movie, done with it, move on. Haunting a Hill House was a little bit different. I was pissed when the season ended. And I'm like, I gotta figure out what happens here and whatever. And it just draws you in. That's great writing. That's great storytelling. Whether it be fictional, non-fictional, whatever. It's fun. Just absolutely fun.
And they did such a fantastic job. I remember the first time watching it through, and then after the season was over, they like released this article that was like, if you go back and watch, here are like the 31 things that you missed.
Yeah,
like ghost heads. Like there's because they have your attention drawn over here to like a conversation.
Yeah,
and like, but if you look up here, you will see this head like come up and then come back. They wrote it in a way they know how you're watching the show.
Yeah, exactly.
Towards what you're watching, they're like, oh, but did you notice like 31 of them? I mean, how genius is that? Okay, I'll go back and watch it a second time. Oh, and now look at that. Now we have a new show, kind of with the same premise and the same actors. But I think you watch things like that. If you've had an experience, you watch it with kind of a keen eye to things. Like you're like, whew, like, maybe that's the entity that
you're still gonna miss stuff. You're still gonna miss stuff, and then that's what they're hoping you do. They hope that you can go back and watch it again and again and again. And Netflix runs to the bank, smiling, and they should. Good for them. But yeah, I remember that. I remember going back and going, how in the hell did I miss that? I mean, it was when they pointed out, and you're like, what the hell? Was I blind? going to the bathroom or what?
Tommy's place is haunted. His vacuum turned on.
Danny Jutes. Danny Jutes. No, the vacuum did not turn at 5:30 in the morning. The ex-wife turned it on. The ex-wife turned it on because she hated both of us. So that's
well, there's the paranormal, and then at one time there was just the
we tried to sprinkle holy water on her at one point, and that didn't even work. So
burning. It smells like burning in here. I don't understand.
Why does it smell like rancid meat?
So, like, you know, with Halloween coming up, obviously in a couple weeks, and there's a lot of, obviously, you know, the biblical sense and the All Saints Day and, you know, Day of the Dead. There's a lot of tie-in and stuff with the holiday, and there's a lot of focus on it. I think, you know, now is the time when, you know, Freeform is running like the 300th day of Halloween or something, and then like they'll start Christmas on November 1st. Yep. So there's obviously a lot of attention to it, but I think the interesting part about it is like it's year round. Like these things are happening. It's why you have shows like and Ghost Hunters and Ghost Adventures. Somebody the Dead Files, which is another great show on Discovery or Travel Channel, I believe. But it's really cool to have a lot of focus on it, because this is when they do all the cool stuff, like the overnight live, you know, like 24 hours in some prison somewhere. This is when, like, if you're into this kind of like ghost hunting, ghost trapping shows, this is when it gets good, because this is when they do all the fun stuff.
Yeah, I mean, and it's live again, you know, and they actually ask the viewers, if you see something, say something. And you know, again, you go back to it's just compelling TV. It's compelling. It keeps you drawn in, and I think that's what draws me into. You know, I'm not in the field of paranormal investigations. I wish I was, but that draws me to, you know, really kind of embrace what these guys do, because, you know, they've done it for a long time. They know what they're doing, and I'm gonna tangent just a little bit when you talk about these shows that are paranormal. You take Ghost Hunters International, Ghost Adventures, for example. I think you and I talked about it last time before we were abruptly cut off by the spirits. But, you know, Ghost Adventures has its moments where it's compelling, but again, I believe that is hyped up TV. I mean, if you watch the host, Zach Bagans, don't know the guy, never met him. You know, to me, the whole show is iffy because there's too much teenage drama in those shows. It kind of takes the fun away from the art of what they're doing. You take a look at Ghost Hunters, the guys out in Massachusetts. That's compelling TV because they go into places saying, we're going to debunk this. You know, they're not going in seconds after they walk in the door and go, it's haunted. It's haunted. Oh my God, there's demons running through me. You know, don't do that shit. They're very level-headed. They're very business-like. Hey, you got a problem? We want to help you. We'll see what we can do. That's kind of my speed on all that. I don't like the hype. You know, you can hype it up. And that's where psychics come in too. It's like, you know, it doesn't matter what house they go into, they're going to feel something, you know. Well, the cameras are rolling, that's why, you know. So
do you have like a like, for me, I think maybe watching too many movies that have scary dolls in them, but is there like like dolls and clowns? Like, do you have any perpetual like weirdness about any of those, like any of those cats, maybe?
Cats. Pet Sematary. Very movie. My wife is terrified of clowns. I learned early on after a prank I pulled on her with clowns. Not good at all. But I don't think so. I mean, the whole doll thing, like Annabelle, another great Conjuring franchise. And you know, the Annabelle, which is truly a Raggedy Ann doll, it's real. At least the doll is. You know, not really, you know, I mean, I don't look at things and go that, you know, that's haunted or that's spooky or whatever. Thing that really nabs me is the unknown, is the things that you hear, see, that you can't explain. Moving objects, the whole telephone thing that happened to me when I was a teenager. the things that, most people are fearful of the things that they can't control. And when something like that happens, well, you're not in control of it. You can't explain it. You can't explain it away. It happened. How do you explain it without acting like a kook? And I think that's the scariest part, is just not being able to explain it. How the hell did that thing move from here to there by itself? Why am I hearing voices? Maybe I need medication. I don't know.
Maybe both. Maybe I'm too medicated.
Maybe I need to see a doctor. But no, I'm not too freaked out about dolls and objects and whatnot.
I think Hollywood has done that has a lot to do with it. I think because you again, like we talked about the Exorcist theme and how it conjures. See what I did there? It conjures up feelings. Namaste. But it gives you that when you hear that music from The Exorcist, you get that feeling of when you watch that movie and the emotion that it drew out of you.
Yeah,
I think it's the same thing when you see objects like dolls, or especially like the old the porcelain face dolls and things like that. When you have movies or shows, I know the Ghost Adventures did a big thing on Doll Island.
Yeah,
and you see, and now you have this like creepy island, all these old dolls, and it conjures up these emotions like, ooh, geez, like I don't know if I want to.
Yeah,
that one could be the one that's haunted. The clown thing, that thing, I'm not sure if it's it, because I mean, if you watch the original It, with what Tim Curry, was Tim Curry the original?
Yeah, Tim Curry was the original It. Yeah,
like if you watch for the time, it was scary, and the book is freaky as shit. So I can see how the clown association, because of It, and now with Pennywise and the new ones, and it's just so I get it, but like clowns just like
clowns are different than what they used to be. I mean, you used to go to the circus, you used to love clowns, and nowadays it's like, thanks to Hollywood, you're like, I bet you $1 million he's carrying.
What's in the balloon?
What's in the balloon, pal? Huh? I got your number, man.
There was a fucking TV show as a child growing up, Bozo the Clown.
Yeah.
Dudes in clown suits. It was like part of your Saturday morning. Like, oh, look, you get to play the game where you throw the ping pong ball in the buckets and you win stuff. This is awesome. And this is cute. This fun clown. And now you're like, you notice McDonald's, like Ronald's kind of being pulled out of marketing a little bit. Like,
I think Ronald took early retirement.
Yeah.
Screw this. Yeah, if you don't like, do not watch Killer Clowns from Mars. It'll ruin you.
Who comes up what writer is going, I have a great idea. Like,
yeah, really.
Not just Killer Clowns, but they're from Mars.
That's right.
And some studios like, buying it. I'm buying it. I'm giving you the money. Make that shit a movie.
Sign here. Yeah. I do have one more story for you that I'll talk to you about. And this one I feel really bad about. I really, really do. I'm going to preface this by saying I couldn't apologize to my daughter enough after I did this thing. Who, again, it was like, who knew? My wife and I moved to Pensacola, Florida, back in late 2014. And we decided to move back to Wisconsin in summer of 2015. And we had the kids down for the summer. And to take a drive in Georgia we went up to Savannah and did a Savannah tour along with Hilton Head and a bunch of other really cool places. But Savannah is the one place I really wanted to see. The architecture, the culture. Forrest Gump was filmed there, and its haunted history, which again really is the main reason why I wanted to go. And there is, I don't know if you're familiar with the Sorrel Weed House. It's been featured on Ghost Hunters and Ghost Adventures a couple of different times. Dates back to the Civil War. And so we took an actual ghost hunting tour. They gave you the electromagnetic meters, and sure as shit, you'd go to some places and the meter would go off. And it was just a lot of fun to go. It's a museum, so you go through and they teach you how to, properly ghost hunt and whatnot. And the story was, I believe it was Saul's wife that committed suicide by jumping out the window. And the story was that she doesn't like girls. She doesn't like women. So towards the end of the tour, we were about ready to walk out of the house, and we took a lot of pictures. Really nothing happened. It was whatever. I just thought it was kind of cool. So my stepdaughter Mariah and my daughter Jasmine were walking next to me, and I'm a snarky dad, and we're walking out, and I said, hey, if you really don't like women, do something with these two. Hey, we got 2 targets right over here. Come on, do something. All right. So we walked out the door. Thought nothing of it. Then Jasmine, who was stone cold white, says, Dad, my leg burns. And I'm like, what? My leg burns. It burns. Well, let's see it. So she rolled up her shorts, and there were 3 scratches right down her leg. True story.
I think I saw
she was in tears.
Did you post a picture of that recently?
I did. I did.
I
I was going through my memory. It popped up as a memory on my Facebook page, and I'm like, oh my God, I totally forgot about this. And so I posted it on my Facebook page, and you can see. I mean, it's real. It's not just she rubbed up against the door and there's 1 scratch. They always say the scratches come in 3s for some reason. I have no idea. Yeah, anytime you hear somebody
sign of the Trinity, I think
they're making always 3 scratches.
Yep, they're making it's supposedly the demons are making a mockery of the Holy Trinity.
And
yeah,
the Holy Trinity. Yeah, and I can always my daughter is I don't know, as normal as a normal girl can be, and when she tears up in fright, it's real. And I horrible for doing that. I didn't. I not in a million years did I think that anything would happen, and I kind of helped manifest a little attack on my own daughter at the Sorrel Wheat House in Savannah, Georgia. So I'm like,
there goes your dad.
I guess ice cream.
You're getting the dad of the year belt. Not for that one. Nope.
Not for that one. Nope.
It's really really strange because the first story you told or we're about to tell, your internet started to suck, and then we lost you. And you started to tell this story, and your internet starts to suck again. I'm not, the demons are in. They're in the Wi-Fi, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but no,
it is crazy. I can't explain that either, because I mean, this is twice now that we've tried to do something like this, and I don't know if anything happened between you and Chad Lewis, but I mean, for some reason, you and I get together and we try talking, the paranormal, and it just becomes an absolute shitstorm. So I don't get it, but it's fun.
If I could explain it, then it would be explained and not unexplained.
Right.
We'd have it all figured out. Like, oh yeah, it's just it's Joe fucking with the internet cable, screwing it all up.
No, but
Tommy, my friend, it is always a pleasure to catch up with you and to chat. Thank you so much for joining us on the live stream. Thanks to everybody who
thank you.
Comment. I mean, it was eerie as always. I mean, I guess we have to do this. We should plan one, and we're going to talk about other stuff, and then see if it goes up without a hit.
Right. Let's talk about the French mimes in the 1900s, and then just kind of throw a ghost story in there and see what happens.
Then the shit's gonna go awry and my computer's gonna fire. There goes
Thanks, Coop.
Oh man, absolutely. Anytime that my equipment wants to work, that'd be fantastic. But take care of yourself. Enjoy your Halloween. I know this is your time to enjoy all the things that
favorite holiday.
I'm telling you, gonna be nuts. To everybody that joined in the conversation, we appreciate you. Thanks for watching the live stream again on Facebook, YouTube, and on Twitch. The podcast will be released tomorrow. You can catch all the strange audio, which will be interesting to see if we caught anything on there.
Yeah.
In just the audio feed. So we'll check that out on all podcast platforms. That will come out tomorrow, which is Friday. And everybody, stay away from Ouija boards. I think that's what we learned today.
That's the key takeaway.
Tommy Shaw, take care of yourself, brother. We'll be in touch soon, man.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
Way out.